In this video, I want to show you how we can use loops to draw a picture or a pattern that has repetition in it. So in this example, we're going to try to draw the following red circles that are filled in. You can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of them. To get that set up, you don't need to be able to create all this code. I will give you this class called drawing frame or something similar that's going to be responsible for making a window that's going to be titled drawing frame. It's going to have a size of 640 by 480. And if I ran it so you can see what it looks like, you will see, hopefully at some point, the window, and here it is. So here's my window, and there's nothing in it. And we're going to add something to it. So the code you actually would change would not be within the frame because that just represents the outside of the window. Instead, there's another class here that's the panel, and that's where we're going to draw some things. So the first thing we need to do is set what color we'd like to be drawing with, and that color is going to be the color red. Then we need to start drawing some ovals. So I'm going to do this the long way before we go to the looped way. So let's say that the first oval I want to draw has an upper left-hand corner of 0, 0. So that's the upper left-hand corner of the window. And let's say that my width and height are both 50 each, so that it's circular. Just to show you what that looks like, if I run it, we're going to see something that looks like this. So we've got one red circle there. Now let's say I wanted to draw an oval right next to it that has the same width and height. Well, that means the only thing that could possibly change is the x and y. What's changed is the x coordinate. It's going to have the same y coordinate because it's going to go across the top of the screen. So if I run it again, we'll see that we get now two ovals that are right next to each other. So that's progress. If I wanted another oval right next to it, I'd have to change the x one more time to 100. Oops. And if I run it, we'll see that we have three ovals. So progress is being made. This is a little bit of an annoying way to get this to work though, because we have to write this command 10 times. So instead what we're going to do is we're going to recognize that there's something changing here, and that's the x, and we're going to introduce a variable for that. Initially it's going to be 0. We're going to need a loop that's going to execute 10 times, because there are 10 circles. In the body of the loop, we're going to be executing this draw command multiple times. But instead of writing 0 for the x coordinate, we're going to put in x, because x is now going to represent a value that changes. Now after we draw each value of each oval, we'd like the x coordinate to increase by 50 so that it'll shift over. So now if we run it, we'll see that we are getting the pattern that we're looking for, which is 10 red ovals right next to each other. And there's lots of ways that you can use this example to make other shapes. So let's say we still want 10, but we want it to be vertical. So I would change this to be consistent to 0y then. And I'd probably change all these to be y's as well, so it makes sense. And now if we run it, we should see a vertical column of circles going down the screen instead of horizontally. And they're cutting off at the bottom, but it's still doing the same thing. And if you want to play more, you can even do things like, let's keep the x and y the same, but let's have the width be changing. So let's start the width with 50. We'll have the width go up by 10 each time. And put w here, we'll run it. And it looks like a blob. What's happening is, and I'll be clear if I make it draw oval instead of fill, is it's drawing a bunch of wider and wider and wider ovals. So maybe even better, let's say I change both the width and the height to be the same amount. Boom, get kind of a cool shape that looks like this. So yeah, we can do lots of fun things with these drawing commands using loops. The concept is that you have a loop that's going to run a number of times, and then you have to figure out kind of the mathematics for where you want to draw things. A good starting point for any of these problems is what I did at the beginning, which is to write out a bunch of manual commands and then try to find a pattern that I can then represent with some variables. Okay, hopefully this made some sense.